I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. Board meetings are generally held on the third Tuesday of the month, except for this month. The Board of Education is a body of school district residents elected by the community in charge of conducting school-related business. The meetings are conducted under the open meeting law, but are not open forums for the community. With that being said, visitors to these meetings are to conduct themselves properly and with respect to any other individuals at the meeting. The Board of Education reserves the right to remove any individual for improper display of behavior or inappropriate language. The Board of Education will have a period of time devoted to visitor requests following any board presentations and the approval of minutes shortly after the opening of the meeting. Individuals wishing to address the board will be permitted to speak up to 3 minutes. A total of 30 minutes may be allowed for public comment. When we get closer to that time, we'll go over the expectations at that point, if there's any visitors tonight. With that being said, Faye, do you mind doing a roll call, please?
Sure thing.
Thanks.
Mr. Ziegler.
Here.
Mrs. Emerson.
Here.
Mrs. Younger-Davis.
Present.
Mrs. Bachelor. Here. Mr. Stabell.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson. Mr. Taylor.
Present.
Okay, thanks, Faye. So up tonight, first off, we have presentations from Close Up Washington. Mrs. Schlagenoff and some friends are here with her. Welcome, guys.
So I'm just going to briefly introduce and let my young friends talk here. I have 3 other young students that could not be with us. I got one playing baseball, I got one playing softball, and I got one that didn't come to school today. So we went to Washington, D.C. this past March. Just to give you a little context about the Close Up Washington trip, the kids back in, I think it was October, do an application process, and we screen those applicants, and then we sit down as the social studies department, and we interview the students, asking them about various topics in regard to history, culture, social studies, politics, all that kind of stuff. And then based on our recommendations, the 5 students were selected. I think we had like 10 or 12 applicants that we weeded down, and thanks to you for allowing them the opportunity to go. So they just wanted to come and say a few words tonight about that. So.
Okay, I'll be going first. I'm Kendall Newbold, and I'm a senior here. So this trip was of importance to me because I want to be a social studies teacher, and obviously the history portion of it is very important, but also because for a little bit of background, I'm a generally shy, awkward person, but I've learned to make myself branch out, and this trip has really single-handedly pushed me out of my comfort zone a lot, and I can help my future students take that step for themselves by doing that for me, and I can help push them in that direction. More generally speaking, our country is in a very polarized state right now, I'm sure we all know, and seeing where people come from and how their political beliefs accommodate where they're from is really interesting, and you don't really think about it because you kind of just walk around thinking about yourself all the time. But when you meet other people and talk to other people, it opens your eyes and helps you to take a really large step back and look at the country as a whole instead of just local issues that affect you and personal issues that affect you. So I would say those were 2 really big things that I got out of this trip. Thank you for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Kendall.
That was great.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Good evening. My name is Anthony. I'm a junior here, and I also would like to thank you guys again for allowing us to go on the Close Up Washington trip. I've made just a lot of friends from many different states like Minnesota, Alaska, and Texas from this trip. And throughout this trip, there was lots of very educational, political, just debriefs amongst everybody, just where we stand on just political issues like immigration, food stamps, stuff like that. We call these things workshops. So I was part of workshop 2. I had Tim as my instructor, and Tim was also a former U.S. diplomat and was a part of the Close Up Foundation. It's just it's great alumni part of Close Up, and it's really opened my eyes to the political world in the United States. Like Kendall said, there's lots of polarization occurring in the country right now, and just being able to sit down and have civil conversations with people my age around the country really just left a huge impact on me, and just like made me realize like the media is like just trying to catch a big story, like everybody is civil and human.
So when you guys were there, it was a couple of days, right? Like it
We
was
went for a week.
a week.
Yeah.
It's more than a couple of days. That's a really long time. And so that's a great amount of time there. So when you're there, so your day's kind of probably already laid out
Yeah.
for you, super busy. And so do you get a chance to choose your workshops, guys, that you got to go to, or is it like this is what you're
No,
going
the
to?
day is pretty structured for them. The only day where there's some flexibility is Wednesday. We call it Capitol Hill Day. So we took the kids to the hill and we tried to get into some meetings that they could see. We took them to the Library of Congress. We went to the Supreme Court. And then we took them into, the House wasn't in session, but we wanted them to see like where the State of the Union is. And then the Senate was in session, so we sat and Landon, if you want to talk about that for a few minutes, because that was...
Yeah, so in the Senate they were discussing like just funding with ICE and just more immigration policies, and for my SEAL Civics class project, it is about ICE reform, and so really gave me an understanding about like, you know, what happens in the Senate, like how our representatives talk to each other, like how the issues viewed in Congress.
So are you leaning towards a career pathway at all?
I feel like definitely want to get involved, but I'm still just like undecided a lot of what I want to do.
Which is perfect. I still am as well.
Me too. I wake up every day with a different time.
My wife just doesn't go to work. So you guys also went on the field trip in 8th grade, the Washington field trip, and this is like blown way.
Yeah, blew me
like,
out of the water. It was
Yeah.
just like, it was a lot better, a lot more like just information about everything. Like you're not just walking around DC and somebody tells you this is the Lincoln Memorial, like they're giving you, you know, stuff to work on. Like we had a pamphlet the entire week we filled out. It was just very informing and just
more depth, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to dig in a little bit deeper.
And the night before they go to Capitol Hill, that we do a mock Congress,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody at our hotel, which was about 150 kids, something around that, and they do the deal. They try to pass a bill, they lobby us, they do the whole thing.
The whole week is very interactive.
What was your favorite part?
definitely not Congress.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like talking about the immigration stuff. It's recent, and my group was very open-minded, and it was really refreshing because you don't really get a lot of that nowadays. So I think that really opened my mind to what that trip was all about. It was really amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, we couldn't have had two better stewards go from Oakfield. You guys are both wonderful, wonderful young adults. I'm lucky to know you, Landon, and you're still just as nice as you were in Little League and Kendall. You're coming from Kendall to Oakfield. We couldn't be luckier to have you here at Oakfield. So thank you so much. You guys don't do this on the side at all, do you? These presentations, because you're so relaxed. I am never that relaxed. Before this at all. I'm very nervous. You guys did a really nice job.
Thank you.
And thanks, Mrs. Schlegenoff, for doing this as well. This is such an opportunity. I don't know if there's a lot of school districts around that do this here.
We
in
go
this
through
area.
a cohort through the BOCES region. So we traveled with Perry, but nobody from the GR really goes. But a lot of Livingston County schools are there the same week as us. But they're at different hotels, so it's nice that the kids are exposed to students from really all over the country.
Yeah, Minnesota.
There was Alaskan
That's
kids there.
That's cool.
Were they
That's
cool?
great.
Were they cool?
Yeah, they're kind of
Very nice.
I'd add that you both probably took away two very important lessons that I heard you say. And first is that I think our country has lost that ability to sit down and hear somebody else's side and then come to an agreement that works for both sides. It seems like today it's everybody wants their side and not to work together. And if you guys take that lesson with you into your adult years, it's going to take you far. And then also recognizing that what news has become in our country.
Yeah, the Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Just to watch
Yeah.
the headlines of
Yeah.
like how headlines are worded these days, just to grab your attention and get
Yeah.
you into the. And then you read the whole article, and it's like this was about nothing, but
Right.
it was a headline that grabs your attention, and that the news is really just trying to get you to react to one side or the other. It's either trying to get you excited about a topic, or it's trying to make you upset about a topic to get behind either side of it. But you guys are pretty far ahead to have already done those two lessons. And, good for you guys. So.
That's such a good point too, Pete. I love that you brought that up and thought about that too. And I think especially in this day and age, there's the clickbait kind of information, and then there's also algorithms that continue to feed you content that looks like content you've already engaged with. So I talk about this a lot in my work life, and it's really that if you want an opposing viewpoint, you have to actively seek that. Otherwise, you're just going to be continually fed the same information that reinforces your viewpoints, which I think is a perspective a lot of young adults don't necessarily have because you've grown up with algorithms, so you don't understand that that's happening in the background. And so it's great to have the in-person interaction, because even that is so much different than what you experience online. But just keep that in mind. Like, actively look for other opinions. It's important.
And well, both of these kids have been in the Seal of Civic Readiness. Kendall was in it last year, and Landon's in it. And then one of the things that we really push in that class is they have to see things from even their topic when they're posing their thesis. They have to do counter arguments and look at things from both sides.
Great.
So
Awesome.
So cool.
Good.
Very
Well,
neat.
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And good luck with the rest of the year. I'm sure you're going to do great, both of you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Have a nice night.
Yeah, you
Thanks,
too.
Thank you.
And feel free to stay for the next couple of hours.
you got it for that one.
See you guys. Okay. That means you guys are up. Well, Rob, on to our budget presentation, please.
Tonight's budget workshop will pretty much be a recap. There aren't many changes, or any at all, I believe, from the 2 weeks ago. I do have all the other slides available if anybody wants to see any of the previous slides again or have any questions. But we are on the final workshop, or the night, that is the wrong computer. I've got too many screens going. So the board will be adopting the budget tonight, and then we just have the budget hearing and the annual vote and school board election left. So a quick recap. On the revenue side of the budget, we have a large increase in state aid, which is mostly due to building aid. There are several categories in state aid. They go up and down, but the increase is the building aid that is related to the capital project expenditures. We're proposing the 4% levy increase for the taxes, and we're using a significant amount of appropriated balance, fund balance, and reserves. On the expenditure side, we're all well aware that 30% increase in premiums. I'm sure you know by your bills at home, there are large utility increases. We have that increase in debt service due to the capital project. That's largely offset by that building aid increase. We've reduced staffing across the board: administration, teaching, the support staff, maintenance staff, and transportation. We reduced equipment, materials and supplies. We're putting the bus purchases on a separate proposition to fund them separately. And we had some increases in some BOCES special ed placements. So this was the summary of our expenditures. You can see our overall change from the adopted budget is about 9.75%. Our proposed budget is $26,999,528. On the revenue side, you see that state aid increase, the tax levy, that's the 4%. Pilots are largely the same. The unclassified revenue, the decrease in that is mostly due to interest rates. Those are hard to predict, but they've been on the decline for a little bit. And then you see our appropriated fund balance and use of reserves. And so our revenues equal expenditures at that $26,999,528. For our bus purchase proposition, we are proposing the purchase of 2 small buses and 1 large bus for a total of $443,000. This would be the debt service chart for the next 5 years. Our first payment wouldn't be due to the 27-28 fiscal year, so there's no additional debt service in this year's budget. The interest rates are an estimate, but this would be on the ballot as a separate proposition. So if this budget doesn't pass, there are some options. We could present the same budget for a second vote, present a revised budget for a second vote, or adopt a contingent budget after the first vote. If the second vote doesn't pass, we will adopt a contingent budget. So to get into what that will mean. Under a contingent budget, the tax levy can't be any larger than the prior year, so our current year levy would be next year's levy. All non-contingent items need to be removed, and we must adhere to a contingent budget administrative cap. If you remember in the budget newsletter, our budget is divided into 3 sections: a program, administrative, and a capital component. So there's a formula that goes into the max amount we can have in the administrative portion. So the impact of another contingent budget, our financial cliff would get steeper. So we would need to reduce expenditures by another $227,865. That number might look familiar. That is the 4% increase we're looking for in the tax levy. Because our tax levy can't be any larger than the current year, that would be the amount we would need to reduce the budget by. We couldn't have equipment purchases for a second year. As you know, we had equipment in the budget last year, so we would just get further behind on equipment getting old. We're looking at sports to reduce expenditures there. Field trips would have to be self-funded, including transportation costs. The loss of capital outlay for a second year, that's usually $100,000. We have it in the budget this year for $50,000, looking to start that cycle of aid back up so that we don't lose that again for another year. We'd have to further reduce supplies across the district, and facilities use fees would continue for all residents, so we'd have to charge for any use of facilities. The tax levy would remain what it is this year, that $5,696,634.
And can I just jump in here for a second? So, I feel like I tend to be an optimist, and so, in cash, you just sort of say, the contingent budget, and you keep going, right? Because you want to highlight the positives and all the great things like we heard from our students tonight. But obviously, we're on a contingent budget, and we're working very hard to make sure that doesn't happen again. But this gets deeper. This gets into challenging opportunities for students who are doing the kinds of things that we want them to do. So this is this is very real. This is using a lot of fund balance and reserves. This is also asking for a 4% levy increase, and that's just sort of to maintain, and that's after cutting nearly a dozen positions and really reducing in other areas. So there's a lot at stake, and sometimes people will say, "Wow, there was a contingent budget. I don't feel anything," and that's going to change. That's going to change, and things are going to start to get more and more difficult. And again, we've really, with the help of the administrative team, and Laura has been extremely diligent in everything, coming up with a budget that we can tolerate, but truly needs the support of the community. Because these are things, that we don't want to do. And I wish we didn't have to put them up on the screen, but that's the reality that we're facing.
In the current year, by cutting out the bus purchases, that allowed us to retain most other things that were in the budget when we went to the contingent budget, because those were so expensive. This year, the bus purchases are already out of the budget. So if we go to a contingent budget, that's reducing other things, because our biggest expense is already out of the budget.
And the bus is going to be a separate vote.
A separate proposition, yes.
So theoretically, not that we want it to go this way, but the budget could fail, but the bus purchase could pass.
Correct.
Right, or vice versa. But the buses then become refundable to where the next year we're receiving the money back from the state for the buses. So
Yes.
looking forward, yes, it's a
Right, it would be
expense
part of
the first year.
transportation aid, so it would be included in our state aid on the revenue side.
So once we get that rolling again, the
Right.
buses.
And the capital outlay as well, that would be part of building aid once we get that cycle continuing.
Those are the two things that we lost this year that were very important to our cycle, I would say.
Which no one really feels, right? You don't really feel it until our buses start to fail, until our fleet starts to be more run down, and those maintenance costs start going up more. And I think there's a real reality to this that I don't know how much more lean we're going to be able to get as far as like with staff and with resources. I think the last 2 years we've really looked closely and looked at efficiencies and still have a good product here, but there's a lot less people that are employed here, not just teachers, but buildings and grounds, maintenance. Like there's less here, and it's going to be harder and harder to reduce staffing to be able to do what we want to do.
And unfortunately, I feel like even if this budget passes next year, we're still going to have to make some pretty hard decisions. That, like you said, how much it's hard. We feel like we've cut a lot of what we can cut, and there's only so much that you can until it does start to hurt. And unfortunately, next year is going to be another tough year, even with the passing of this budget.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think the other piece too is like there's still the opportunity to look at regionalization of some shared services, which I know we talked about this year, and getting some of that stuff off the ground in time for this budget is not necessarily feasible. But longer term, those are things we might have to look at, to your point, Pete, because we're going to, we're already in a use of reserves state that isn't a sustainable forecast. So what's that mean longer term? And I think there's, many of us would still say, we want to get to a more sustainable model longer term, but that's not a feasible ask at this point in time, and so much has already been removed without really seriously impacting what we're able to offer here. That's not a reasonable thing for this coming year. I think I just would say too, that I'm hearing some concerning commentary in the community about just voting against the budget again, and I think I would just say that encourage people to be informed themselves and get the information. We're doing these workshops, they're available online for a reason, so please get the information, seek it out, because ask us questions if you didn't get the opportunity to watch, because I think this is too important, and making sure that we're able to really offer all of what these students have become accustomed to and the opportunities they deserve is really important. So.
If next year's budget is going to be about creativity.
Yes.
And honestly, we probably need to start in July.
Well, I think our creativity probably should start yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we have been. I mean, all these conversations, there's been things like, again, sharing services. Things come up, positions, and I think that mindset, we just need to kind of come forward with that instead of doing it as a last resort. I think we should be a little more proactive in looking at what other places we can do that with favorably, so we can get those services that our kids may get or continue to get, period. Because we're not the isolated only school that is having this situation. Unfortunately, this is where we're at. But there are districts that don't have anywhere near as much as we do, and that it's a grateful scenario that we're in that, because people have had to do this a lot sooner. So I think our mindset, I hope we can start thinking more.
And it's not even just the school districts. I think you see a lot of the towns right now are having the same problem. I think I read today that Medina is looking at a 22% tax increase.
Yeah,
for the village.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out.
22.
There's some villages and towns in a lot of rough shape. We're
Holy smokes.
pretty fortunate.
For our voters, I was wondering, is there something easier for them to see visually how much they paid last year? what would they be expected to pay this year? See that there, from my understanding of these numbers, that there isn't really much of a difference. If we do a contingency budget, the difference of how much someone's going to pay is not that substantial. So it's almost like you have a choice of paying almost the amount per person for your family household, and then providing the services that the students need. So I think it'd be nice to visually see this is the expectation here in this column A and column B, and I don't think there's going to be much of a difference.
We usually have a slide with the tax rate, but again, the tax rate has 3 different variables in it, and we only have one known at this time, so I estimate the other 2 to come up with what the tax rate might be. With assessments increasing every year, the overall assessments increasing, it decreases the tax rate because you're cutting that pie into more pieces. But I will have a slide for the budget hearing, getting us close.
A good thing to include.
Yep, yeah, for sure. So our contingent budget expenditures, if you look at the dollar change column at the bottom, that's the $227,865 we need to reduce. And this is the change from the proposed budget. So you see salaries are going down. That's for the field trip salaries, the athletic salaries. I just took a little out of benefits, but I haven't looked at that very closely to get the exact number. Equipment, all of it would be gone, so that $81,000 would be out. Contractual, that's the estimated fuel costs of what field trips would be. Those would have to be self-funded. We took a lot out of materials and supplies just to get this to balance. BOCES would remain unchanged, and our transfer to capital would be deleted from the budget as well.
I think that slide right there shows it really good. If you look at the bottom of the proposed versus the contingent, if we go to a contingent, we're really only saving $200,000.
Yes,
so
and it's less
right
than a
there's
percent.
Your slide of like what this actually means. Either help us with this, or you're going to see the same, almost nearly the same increase on a contingent as you are versus what the proposed budget is.
Now, Laura, we don't understand, or we don't have the actual numbers of what the state is going to provide for us at this point, correct? Because they keep pushing that day out.
Oh,
We never have that number.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's supposed to be here, April 1st, and it's still waiting.
Yeah, it's late every year.
I know that's coming soon, but that will also help with the budget as well, too, if we get that extra money, correct?
Yeah, the state aid is estimated from the last runs that they did give us.
Mm-hmm.
So how this one might change, it might affect it a little, but nothing is guaranteed. So I did not change the state aid number at all.
Right.
Yeah, there's they're talking about another percentage possibly. However, that's an aggregate number, and what that may actually mean for Oakfield-Alabama, remains to be seen. But
so that number could potentially be less than, or will it always increase?
I don't think it'll be less.
We're hold harmless, so I don't think they would reduce the aid we're getting. We just aren't guaranteed more.
Okay.
And then
So
for transparency's sake, for those listening at home, if we do get more than anticipated, where does the excess go? Into reserves, or?
It would be part of, it depends on how everything washed out at the end of the year. If expenses were more than revenues, then we'd have a loss. So even if we didn't change the budget, if the amount was immaterial and we didn't change the budget at all, it would still be revenue during the year. And when we do the revenues versus expenses and all of our numbers are crunched at the end of the year, it would just fall into fund balance if it was in excess.
So it would be potentially less use of reserves.
Possibly,
Yeah,
yes.
so if we were to bring in more income, we wouldn't have to use as much.
And just one thing about reserves that I think is an important nuance. It's not uncommon for districts to say we're going to use this much fund balance and reserves, and kind of have a plan in their mind about how they're going to refund those things. So in other words, they're going to have efficiencies throughout the year that they can actually retain that money and not really spend it, not really have their savings account go down, if you will. Right. We are in a situation where our savings account is going down. So we're trying to be very mindful of refunding that so that we remain at good levels.
And then, did we get any contractual agreement from GC, EDC, and the whole payment of $370,000 from Pilot or Plug Power?
There is there's an upcoming board meeting. Is it April 16th? Is it?
That's Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yes, Thursday.
Yes. So the answer is there's nothing formal and official yet.
Is there, okay, and there's no known date?
No, we may know more after Thursday, but I wouldn't speculate beyond that.
I don't know that they will put anything in writing. I think that's just.
But, which is fine and dandy, terribly at the same time. But then, what is our plan B? Are we have to pull from reserves?
Yeah, that's a very different conversation.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of variables still, unfortunately.
That would probably have to be our plan. It would have to.
Well, I don't know what else we would do. I mean, a candy bar sale probably wouldn't cover it at this point. Like, that would be, like, that's the only, I mean, all joking aside, there's nowhere else we can pull from.
It's just more to bring into light for those of us the seriousness of that variable being still out there. And if we do go into contingency, then, like, the financial cliff gets steeper is a very accurate statement. And you get real slippery.
I think that's a good perspective to bring in, right? There's no extra slush in here that we're just wanting to save away for a rainy day. We're making it work with what we've got, and it's unlikely extra money is coming from anywhere else. If anything, it would just mean more reserves being used.
That's where we're at.
Everything's on the table.
The way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. So for our contingent budget on the revenue side, you see the $227,000 coming off the tax levy. Again, state aid, if that comes in a little bit higher, it's not really going to be material. The only other thing that might change on there is the unclassified revenue. That's hard to estimate. Like I said, some of it is interest income, some of it is tuition of non-resident students. Though they come and go, so that's an estimated number. And then, we'd be able to change the use of reserves. That's pretty much the only other category on that slide that we'd have control over. Or possibly appropriated fund balance, depending on how this year works out. So the important dates coming up, our budget hearing is May 12th at 6 p.m. and the annual budget vote and school board election is May 19th between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. We still have that budget at aohornets.org email open if anybody has questions or comments, feedback. We're monitoring that.
Are we getting?
Are you guys getting them?
Mostly just people solicitations, junk mail.
Is that right?
Really?
Not much, but that's those have been the only emails so far this year.
It's a platform, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a platform. I appreciate that being there, and if people want to use it, they can.
Yeah.
And then obviously tonight the board will adopt the budget, and then from here to the vote, we have opportunities to hold forums. There's a budget hearing, but there's also other opportunities and groups that we can speak to let them know, what the situation is and give them the facts that we're talking about. And we can be, we can be outward with that.
No, I think we appreciate how this has been broken down since January, and each meeting has been devoted a pretty healthy amount of time to understanding helping us understand where we're at with the budget. And I don't know how much more we can put out there at this point. We really do appreciate the time and the detail that you've provided us. So thank you for that, guys. I appreciate it. It's a model that I think we'll probably use moving forward. I really do. So I appreciate this. Okay, so on item 3, minutes, be it resolved that the minutes of the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting and the minutes of the March 31st, 2026 special board meeting be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Paige, do we have any visitor requests tonight? Okay. On to the approval of be it resolved that after an audit of the bills, payment of the warrants, and internal claims, auditors' reports be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We'll
Give
go
it to Kevin.
Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Treasurer's reports. Be it resolved that treasurer's reports for the month of February 2026 be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Pete?
Second.
Thanks, Mallory. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We don't have any policy tonight. And Laura, you're free to have the floor if you'd like it again, or you can drop the mic. Or
Well, it's been a nice
Good
quiet week
Yeah.
here, being break week. We still have activity in the building, but yeah, it's quiet here. It's nice having the kids back again. Right before break, we went out on that very energetic pep rally that was in there. That was exciting to see. Those kids seem to really enjoy that. So yeah, got a lot done over break.
That's good to hear.
Things going well.
Good. Thanks, Laura. Rob, any updates?
Yeah, just briefly, we did meet right at the end of the month, and I appreciated that opportunity. I think it made coming here tonight, much more fruitful.
Yeah.
And again, just Laura mentioned the pep rally, and just really all the staff and everybody involved pulling that together, and providing those opportunities for students, right, for school spirit, and what we saw here tonight. Those are the things that really make the difference, right? It's that that Maya Angelou, like how people made you feel, right? That's what you remember. And we have many staff members across the district who are doing that every day. So it was a nice break during that time. My grandson has now joined us, and that's fantastic news, and everybody's doing well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Rob. Connie, any updates tonight?
Nothing really new to report. It sounds strange to say, but the focus now is all next year, getting things ready for next year. It really does start this time of the year, laying all the groundwork, so everybody's ready to hit the ground running in the fall. And so that's kind of where my world is right now, getting everything set for next year, so people can just take things and run.
Isn't your planning for next year like what trips you're going to take?
Yeah, I'm wondering, is there anything?
I'm planning like, what can I do with myself? I can't have that much time to myself. I need to get another job.
Do you have somewhere that you're going to travel to, Connie?
Probably not.
You don't think so? There are no wild plans?
No.
Nothing.
My plans, my kids are coming back
Aww.
west, so, and hopefully my son got married this summer, and maybe I'll have a grandbaby.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
hey, there you go.
There's your job.
Yeah.
That would be
No,
something.
he's got to live close enough though.
Yeah.
So
Where do they live now?
They're in Boston.
They're both of them? No,
Well, I
you
just have one
one
son.
son. I was going to say,
Yeah.
wait a second. Your son's in
I have a
Boston.
nephew that I consider a child, right?
I was going to say, wait a
Yeah.
second. Yeah.
that's so cool.
Well, all right. Well, fingers crossed, baby. So we have a grandbaby coming? Maybe.
Not that I know of yet.
Not yet, but it could happen.
We're working on it.
All right. Well, hey, good luck.
Well,
All right.
Connie, you'll laugh. My mom retired last year, but she's hysterical that she has started driving my kids to school because it's the only reason she gets out of her PJs. It's like her guaranteed plan to get moving. She's like, I get my clothes changed, I drop them off, and then I go get Starbucks. It's a real routine she's got going on.
She didn't do it this morning, though. I saw you.
Yeah, I was racing this morning.
That's a good routine.
That's great. Works for me.
All right, Mrs. Newman, any updates over at the elementary?
Always great things. Glad to be back. And like Laura said, last week was quiet. I got a ton done, but it is very eerie how quiet the building is when you're the only one there. I only had 2 cars that tried to drop people off yesterday on our day off. So hopefully I was here. That's okay. Right before break, we did a fun March Madness. I'm sure any of you that are parents of elementary students. Kristen Laker came with the idea last year to me to do some vertical alignment with math. One thing she was noticing is the kids just needed a little strength in their math facts. And so she presented a really fun way of doing it. We called it March Madness. The grade levels go against each other and practice and do their challenges, and then they move on through the brackets till we get to the final day. We really don't focus heavily on who wins. It's just you get a picture. But I think on top of really seeing the kids improve in their math facts, I think it's also really important for children to learn how to win graciously and also lose graciously, which is a very important skill for all ages. So we work through some of those, but I do believe that that's just as important. And Mrs. Laker comes down and watches the final competition, and really just the teachers are overall, the kids' facts have gotten better and stronger, and those kids are competitive, so they're willing to learn what they need to do well. So it was a really fun day. We did that right before break, so I just thought that was worth noting.
Do you have workshops for adults for that?
We could work on that.
For the back fluency or for the losing?
No,
I can help you with
graciously.
your back, Jackie.
Well, hopefully the children can be role models for all adults.
Perfect. That's a great idea.
Yes.
I love the back fluency push there, because it's really hard to take on new skills, mathematically speaking, if those facts aren't fluent. So when you're sitting there 5, 10, 15 and you're trying to, use a distributive property to break whatever, or, decide on equivalent fractions, it's really hard to come up with those if you're not fluent with your facts. I love it.
That's good.
And the Bell girls enjoy it as well.
Yeah,
They
super fun.
they love
Yes.
the
So did the Emersons.
March Madness. Mr. Peterson, what do you got?
I want to highlight 2 bits of good news. One is being spearheaded now by our National Honor Society. There was an idea brought, I think, to Mr. Montour's attention several years ago on a Veterans Memorial Bench. So there was a slab of concrete that was laid out there last year by our MST class, and it kind of has laid vacant, but our National Honor Society has taken up the torch and collaborated with some local donators and put a plan together to get the bench funded and built. So you should see that out there with some plaques in the next month or 2. So that's kind of a good act by our National Honor Society, and good branch with the community.
Well, that's great.
Is that the one with Mr. Engel?
Mr. Engel will be very,
Yeah.
very pleased.
Yes,
thank you.
The other bit of good news is, I don't know how many of you know Kat Davis. Her married name is Kat Kupicha. She's taken over and offered some support for us in our tech wing, and she's really taken the lead in offering some activities for our kids who are in Tech 7 and Tech 8, and she's really done an impressive job. She served as a teacher aide with us for a few years, has been a substitute teacher, but what she's done down there with the tech classes has been spectacular. She has a passion for horticulture and has used the greenhouse, and kids are loving it. She's doing a fantastic job. So she's offered some support and stability down there. Thumbs up to Kat. She's a great lady.
Yeah, I'd second that. My girls come home and they have had nothing but good things to say. So thank you for finding the perfect person. Yeah, she's been a great addition. So good job.
My youngest son has come back with the same. It's been great. He's really enjoyed it.
Would that be a green thumbs up?
You're all day, try the minutes.
That goes with Justin's cool.
Yeah, that is right there. So I hear she's talking about bees. An apiary possibly. My son Nate's been said that there's quite a buzz.
Oh,
here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Moving on. What's next? What else do you have? How far can we keep this?
I'll
We've
let
had
you
too
know
many
when it
naps
comes
over
out.
the last week.
No, thank you. Thanks, man.
Time to move on.
Thank you for the National Honor Society, and thank you, Kat Capicha, right? Kat, yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Thank you. Let's see here. Mr. Z, Rob.
The phone project is wrapping up. We did some 911 testing over the break and some PA systems and stuff that we can only do in OBs here. So that went really well over the break. Other than that, typical end of the year stuff as far as devices and ordering and all that. So things are going pretty well.
Thank you. I think Elijah's probably at some athletic event, like a track, probably. I would imagine there's something going on. All right. I think we got everybody. Yep. On to item 8, new business. Be it resolved that items 8.2 through 8.18 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Well, there's a couple
Jackie
there.
got it.
Okay, we'll go with Jackie. All right. Any discussion?
The only thing I saw, which I thought was interesting, was the data center giving us the money, how they want to contribute to getting Peloton bikes.
Say it again, Kev.
They wanted to give us Peloton bikes.
Who
Well,
does?
so there was an initial, they made a donation earlier, and then there was some conversation, and there was another opportunity for a donation, and so it's not just bikes. There's a whole bunch of stuff for our weight room.
Yes.
So they were, willing to do that. They know that that's something, again, we hope to get our community back in there.
But it's just an interesting choice, especially if the kids want to use it. They need to have shoes for it. So I was like, you have to have special shoes.
Yeah, I don't
ride
know,
mine all the
I don't know
time.
if they were Peloton.
Do you
It's just regular shoes.
Isn't that uncomfortable?
No, the shoes are more uncomfortable. Especially when
Two
you try to get
commercial
off
grade
of it.
Peloton bikes. I mean, it could be. I
It would
don't
be
know.
insert.
Yeah, no,
It's just a small thing.
Regular
It's
shoes.
just
Yeah.
small.
I don't even have
But
a regular
I
bike.
think the commercial one is different though, because
The
the
right,
like
it
the
might
gym
be.
grade ones, like the home ones, require the shoes, but I think the other ones,
Alright,
the gym,
alright.
like they're gym grade.
I just want to make sure everyone can use them.
Yeah.
Buying those
Yeah.
fancy shoes.
Only question I did have about that too, Rob, is like, is there a way to take those donations and like just put it in our general fund so it helps our budget versus, or do they want it to go?
Well,
to
they
something
had
specific?
asked, and I mean, arguably it is because there were requests for weight room
Right,
because some of that stuff is outdated and really beyond repair. So it was either try to find a way to fund it. So in a way it is,
Okay.
but it's also something of trying to be community facing as well.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're not in a contingency budget, will we be able to open the gym back up to the community? Just during
if
the
we're not, yes. If we're not,
yes. So if it goes to contingency, then none of this stuff can be used by the community until we go back into regular.
yeah. I mean, you could set up some sort of pay type thing, and
Right.
it'd have to be self-funded.
I think the other thing to note too is the instructional calendar, where before we had a little bit of a discussion, but we moved forward with it, where we're going to have the startup date the day after Labor Day is on the 8th. I think we were going to originally have it. But
We were originally
It
on
was going to be
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 8th, and we're going to start on Wednesday the 9th.
Yes, so that's been adjusted there, and I think it's just with a little bit of wiggle around with I think our February
Spring break.
or spring break.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a change there, and I don't think there was anything.
And then just the observation dates of the Lunar New Year, and then they're moved to February. Right?
The actual observance of those days are on Saturdays, but there's some contractual obligations, so we worked that out with the units to make sure that they, whoever needs to be credited with those days, either as a holiday or a payday, they are.
Okay.
And so we're able to work that out and do that on the February break.
Yeah, those are those MOAs that are
Yeah.
in here.
Yep.
So that kind of takes that up. Is there anything else, guys? All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Motion passes. Faye, it looks like there's a big envelope we've been talking about here. This is a communication. That's any other communication?
No, that's
Anything more?
regarding the meeting that's on Thursday over at the
Perfect.
Fair Hall.
Thank you. On to personnel, be it resolved that items 11.2 to 11.5 be approved by consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Natalie. Any discussion?
Just want to thank Angela Monachino. She takes my daughter in every day of school with a smile, and really has made Evelyn's first year into pre-K or UPK a special, very special year. So a big thank you to Angela Monachino for her service.
She's still got wheels. She ran out the other day, and I was like, "Whoa, slow down, Angela! That's like an accident waiting to happen." And she was moving so fast, and she's been here for a long time.
23 years, I think she was.
Yeah, I'm just very appreciative of her and what she does on a daily basis. And we wish Catherine the best of luck and your endeavors moving forward as well.
Very nice.
Anything else, guys? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11.6, spring sports appointments. Be it resolved that based upon the recommendation of the athletic director, listed employees be granted corresponding coaching positions. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
This was retroactive.
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then, let's see, that was 11.6, 11.7. Let's see here, 25-26 extracurricular appointments. Be it resolved that the following extracurricular appointment be approved for the 25-26 school year, which is this retroactive. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I recuse myself just because it's Pete.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I was his brother. All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Motion passes.
If his wife was here, she would probably oppose.
I would say so too. Your mom is the last one that admits she's related to him, I believe.
My what?
Your mom.
No,
No,
she would oppose that he be.
Pete's
Yeah.
wife would oppose
Two babies
him
in.
reading mine.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you just meant recuse.
Well, I recuse myself from the vote.
But you're not opposing
As
his
a
appointment.
discussion.
Yeah.
No. If
You're just
recused.
I heard recuse. I didn't realize oppose.
His wife would oppose.
Okay.
Too
Yes.
late. Good thing
I
it's
didn't
already
oppose.
over.
Baby.
Yeah.
He's just
He's just
Didn't
recusing.
oppose.
Yeah. There's a difference, right?
There's
Yeah.
a big difference.
There is a big difference. Okay. Let's see here, and then 11.8. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accept the attached resignation letter, retroactive effective March 30th, 2026. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, on closing remarks. Kev, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Please.
I'm running a trend of these themes. I'm going to stick with it. I like it. So, the theme for today, I thought it was the word uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty nowadays, especially outside of Oakfield. We have the Iran conflict. We don't know how long inflation is going to kill us. We don't know how long gas prices are going to put us under financially. So there's a lot of uncertainty day after day. We don't know when it's going to end. And then bring it back here, a lot of uncertainty about the vote. Uncertainty can make us a little anxious, make us a little scared. And we want this to vote. We want the vote to pass. But the uncertainty that I'm having trouble with is knowing the populace opinion of the budget. Nobody's here. No one's saying anything, and it's kind of frustrating. So I hope there are no issues with our budget, because I think we did a top-end job preparing the budget for everyone. Like everyone said earlier, I'm not sure how much can be shaved away without making drastic cuts toward the performance and the quality of what we can offer our children to benefit. So there's a lot of uncertainties, but sometimes uncertainties can be exciting, and I think we should focus on that. We have upcoming uncertainty of who will be our next leader, our next superintendent, and I can assure you that we have very good candidates. So I hope that others are also excited about the potential for next year. And every year is the uncertainty of how is the next academic year going to be. You just have to go into it with eyes wide open, embrace, trust the process, and I hope we can use that toward the uncertainty of our budget to rest people's unease to bed. But we do have that budget hearing, the forum, one more time next month, and I hope we can further put people at ease that we truly are trying to be financially cognizant and financially good financial stewards for everyone in the community, to just provide a wonderful place for our kids to grow up and learn. So I hope everyone's potential uncertainty is faced with some excitement. That's what I got.
Thank you. Pete?
So 2 weeks ago, we had our last budget meeting, and I walked away from that meeting fully prepared to say no to this budget. This budget's not I thought it should be personally. But I've thought about that a lot the last 2 weeks, and I do think that Rob and Laura have probably put more work into this budget and have been more diligent in this budget than 6 years that I've been on this board. So the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Why do I want to vote no? Just because it's not where I want it. So it was a very selfish view of it. And I started looking at the numbers more and just where we're at with it and everything. And I'm like, man, we've done a lot. Why am I still not happy with this? And there's really just one thing that had our health insurance benefits only gone up 10%, this budget would be exactly where I would have wanted it to be. So something as simple as that was something that was not foreseen as that large of a jump. I would have said, going into the budget season, I would have said 10% increase in benefits is probably, we all probably would have said okay. So if we would have done that with everything else that we've done, this budget would be where I think it should be. But it's not. And that's the only reason I wanted to say no, is because I was like, oh, this isn't where we need it to be. Even though I do know that there was a ton of hard work put into this. So, but I think it goes back to how we started today off, listening to the kids that went to Washington about how one of their takeaways was sitting down and listening to the other side and coming to agreements with that. And that's where I came to on our budget. Is that, something just as simple as that one line item would have got us exactly where we need to be. But with that, caution is that, I believe last year I said we can't tax our way out of this and we can't cut our way out of this. And this year we're taxing and cutting it, and we still can't get to where we are at. And there's a lot of uncertainty of next year. You're potentially losing the plug power payment. Who knows what's going to happen with Stream? So there's a large portion for next year that we just don't know what that is. So we have to try to build ourselves to be able to absorb that in the future, something that we might not have done as well in the past. So I think it's important for people to realize that, even if this budget passes, there's still a lot of challenges for next year. If we go to a contingent budget, man, next year is really hard. And we've talked about, people feeling the pain next year, and I think people are feeling the pain this year. There's 12 staff that we're not going to have here anymore. And that's taken away from the kids. That's people that help support our kids and are in these buildings. And so I would say that we're already feeling that pain. I would say that instead of saying that next year is going to hurt, next year is going to hurt more if we have to do that. So, but with that, the work Rob, Laura, you guys have put into this, I really appreciate that. Especially for Rob, you could have easily floated through this and kicked that can right down the road and said, "See you guys later. Good luck."
He's the carpenter, though.
Yeah,
right?
and to
Right.
steal some of Mr. Banzer's words is that how is your about steering the ship? Small corrections have big outcomes. This is actually a pretty big correction in this budget. This isn't a small correction. This is actually, we're turning this ship pretty good right now. But I think down the road it's going to really help us. And Laura, I want to thank you for all the work that you've put into this. This is the first year I feel like I've had trust in our business leader to believe what I was being told. And I really appreciate that. That's made the budget much easier for me. But then to our other board members, we have a lot of change going on. And I think, there's a thing about, I always hated, I'm rambling on, but I'm sorry. I've always hated when people ran on the premises of experience matters. But I think that we're really starting to see that this board is gaining the experience. There probably are, looking back, a few years that we were along for the ride. And I feel like now, we've got the experience to go. I think this board is committed to making changes, but also seeing those changes through.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was always the case with the board before. And I want to thank everybody else on the board. I think that we're working together, and I want to thank you, Justin, for your leadership through this, because your leadership through this change has been pretty important.
Thanks. Kelly.
So, this budget season's been pretty tough. Starting in January, I stopped sleeping well, and just reflecting back, every time we've met, I've had a pretty lengthy expression of my feelings and how we deliver our beliefs and values as a board. And coming in today, I really didn't know what I was going to say because we have so much ahead of us for long-term thinking. But the two students that came in really put that into perspective as to balancing our educational excellence. So we kind of have it all here at OA with our music, our sports, all of the programming that our teachers are so committed to providing for our students. So looking at this budget, yes, it is kind of a scary thing to undertake and to consider if we go into contingent budget, what we will be losing for our students. Long-term thinking, we need to do what's best for all of our students, our staff, and hold that personal accountability. And as a board, we've really committed our time and our effort into making this wholeheartedly a good avenue for developing long-term accountability. Our short-term cuts are not going to create long-term results. And we need to recognize that the financial responsibility is going to help balance that educational excellence. So we need to look forward to building our future, and we can only do that with the help from our community. So I hope that our community that maybe hasn't responded to the question or comments on the email or made phone calls to our district really understands that we have your best value at our interest at value. So I really, really want to look forward to going through to the budget hearing and then the budget vote, and know that we are trying our very best to make good decisions that are going to give us those long-term results that our students, our staff, and our community need long-term. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for getting through that winter season. And we have the beautiful weather out today for our sports, and the kids are going to do amazing this year, and looking forward to graduation upcoming. So very short today, but just look forward to some excitement and some spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning?
Yeah, spring cleaning. I'm done with winter now.
Thanks, Kelly. Jackie?
I'll keep this a little bit short too. It was great to be out in the fields, and I looked at the campus and to see just everybody hustling and bustling and the kids out there, and that's such a good feeling to see that, and knowing what's going on and looking at the barn in the back with some animals in there and students doing things like that. And again, it brings light to those opportunities. Kids are getting ready to go to All County again. There's this weekend, another All County festival. So, the kids are struggling. I know my kids are struggling trying to make choices about what they do, because there's a lot of things. Sorry, my squeaky chair, guys. I got the bad chair.
I usually have it.
Pulled the short straw today. But it's hard. It's hard, and I sit there and say, what a grateful scenario that we are in. That my kids have so many options to do things. They have to make choices, and here we are at Oakfield-Alabama, little rural district, and my kids have so many choices. They feel bad about turning one down, and I have to give them a little bit different perspective. And I think that's the great thing. This is not a bad thing. It might not be the favorite thing, but we are very lucky to have those opportunities, and I hope that will continue. And it might not always be easy. Obviously, there might be some things we don't get our way, all of us, and it goes back to our learning how to gracefully win and lose and accept. And I think acceptance is, it doesn't mean you have to give up and settle. I think acceptance is, let's figure out how to do this the best way we can with the means that we have, with what can we do with what we have. And I think if everybody kind of put that perspective, and I do that a lot with my own kids, you might not like it. You might not have the result that you're looking for, but it doesn't mean you can't find a way to make it the best situation you have to be, So I think there's people who aren't going to love this budget. I think there's people who on the inside don't love how the way the district is run. And I think there's students probably who don't like that. But whatever role you're in, I would hope that we can try to step back and look at that perspective and be a model for those people, to say, it's not what I would choose, but let's figure out the best way we can continue to function, do what we have to do. And that will breed and bleed out, because if you're disgruntled and negative, that's also going to be modeled, and that's also going to be carried out throughout your district, throughout your community. So it might not always be what you want, but we're doing the best we can. And I sat in a meeting today at work, and I have to hear how the administrators and everybody up high, they're doing all this behind the scenes work and nobody can see it. Well, you can't see it because it's sometimes not right in front of you right now, right? That's always hard to hear all the work that people are doing, and they get frustrated because people don't see it. But I can vouch for a lot of us, and it didn't, years of coming onto this at going on 6 years, it's really, really starting to click and understand. And I do believe that history is, I feel so much more prepared now than going through these budgets and planning for future. You can't plan your household budget just thinking about hoping you're going to win the lottery to manage your finances for today. That is not what we teach our children. That's not how we do our own things. So really looking long term, maybe our kids don't see that, but down the road is what we really have to do. So I appreciate the work that everybody is doing, because I do know it is a lot. And thank you guys for being helpful and explaining that all to us. And thank you guys for working through this, because it's not fun, and you guys help me make those decisions that I don't understand all the time, but the information you guys provide, even as board members and administrators. So thank you. Moving on.
Thanks, Jackie. Taylor?
Wow, we've covered so many excellent topics, but first I guess I would say congratulations to Mrs. Monachino. She really has dedicated a lot of years of service to us, and she's touched a lot of really great kids' lives and has left them with really positive marks. And I know she works really hard, and what she does can be a really tough job at times. Don't envy that position. I know it is nothing I could ever do. So really much appreciate what she brings to the table, and everyone in those support roles that they're playing in with our students are super important. So wish her well as well. Everyone deserves retirement, so I'm super pumped for you, Connie, too. Everyone deserves it. And then this feels like a lifetime ago, but I wanted to also thank Kim Mayer does an excellent job with our Lego robotics program. We had our makeup competition a few weeks ago, and she talked about someone who dedicates their time. And
longest season in any history of sport. Started in August.
Listen, and we play hockey, so
March 28th, right? August to March 28th.
Yeah.
That is the
It's
longest, and
sport,
she doesn't miss
guys.
a Wednesday. This
She
one
does,
was
and she adds extra days.
Right?
Really,
She's-
she just spends so much time and energy and her own money making like pizza parties for the kids and
It's crazy.
bringing in stuff. She just is like a tireless committer to making that experience
I can
amazing.
relate to her.
She's also super competitive, so I was so proud of her because I'm really competitive. We walked in that gym and she was not messing around. She's like, "These kids are prepared. We're ready to go." And
They really killed.
they did. Yeah, we got two trophies. I can't remember both.
Core values.
Core values.
Core values.
And top robot for that group of kids. So it was pretty
surprising.
impressive
Good job.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
So
then she's been on a streak too. Like this is
Yeah.
year after year after year. She's been killing it.
she's a great coach, and I know she also, again, you think about tying this back to some of the themes like perspective. When you think about one of the things I think they do really excellently at this school is provide opportunities for perspective for a lot of students across a lot of different areas. Like you go Lego robotics, really technical STEM background, and then we go into our ag courses and the things we're providing over there. Also STEM, but a very different perspective on some of those things, right? So I think it's just so important that we're able to maintain those opportunities to gain perspective, because it becomes more and more challenging and more money attached to those things the older you get, and not having had the opportunity for those things. So yeah, I mean, I'm just super proud that we're able to provide those spaces for people. And not to like switch gears into the negative side, but to the budget perspective, Pete, I appreciate you being so candid with your perspective on this, because I think there's sometimes a thought process from the way we show up and communicate in this room that everybody's kind of just going with the flow, and there's no consternation or communication or discussion around some of the potential points there. And I'll be frank, like I was kind of sitting in a similar place as you, but I think it's also really important to value all the time and energy that this group has put into the budget today. And I think, to your point, it takes time to modify some of these things, and I think we're on a very good track. And It doesn't mean we're going to continue to just go through doing what we're doing over the next several years. But Laura and Rob, you guys have put a ton of effort into really saying, like, what can we reasonably do today to impact the budget, and then what are the other things that we can look at in the future. So I think there's pending concepts of things that can continue to support allowing kids to have opportunities to gain those perspectives, but also be fiscally responsible with the money that belongs to this community and the opportunities that belong more collectively. So I think, for me, it was more about that perspective as I was reviewing things more closely. And I think I also appreciated like the candid conversations with both of you. I know I asked some tough questions, and I always come into a conversation because of lots of years of leadership coaching, talk about perspectives, asking questions about the things that I don't understand to better get a viewpoint, or to make sure that we're thinking about the opposing viewpoints that maybe aren't in the room. And sometimes it can feel like I'm being abrasive in a way that's not like community focused, right? But that's certainly never the intention. And I think that everyone's working really diligently on this, and in respect to the work that's been done and the work that I feel very confident we're on the right path to continuing. I absolutely am aligned to continue to move forward with where we're at. So I think those are kind of just, I never want the perspective to be that this group is just rubber stamping things through. I think that's one of the things I'm most proud about being a member of this board, is that it absolutely is evident in the conversations that we have and the way we communicate with each other. There's respectful discourse, and everyone is open to considering a viewpoint that we didn't hold at the beginning of it. So together, those perspectives make us stronger, and we're really doing our absolute best to deliver what we can for the community in these spaces, and I feel really confident in that. And I think also too, Justin, you spend so much time and energy doing so much of what you do on a volunteer basis that nobody understands, and you take all the criticism from all of us, all the feedback from the community, and all the fun that happens on the other side of that. So I just want to say thank you, because I know that can always feel good, and we really do appreciate all the extra that you do. And I think we talk about the things that are happening behind the scenes that nobody knows about. You are in so many conversations. I think you're here every day this week.
4 days.
Yeah. So, and you have a full-time job too. So just want to say I appreciate
a lovely
you.
wife.
And a lovely wife. I know.
My attention.
She would probably oppose too.
She would.
But we appreciate you. So thank you.
For me, I don't think I'll ever be thought of as a financial wizard. I'm not good with numbers, and I'm not great with finances. It's not the reason why I wanted to be on the board. So I'm very grateful that we have people that are very diligent and keep this in the forefront of their thoughts. For me, this budget is something that I was scared when we kind of gave the staffing out. I was very nervous about how that was received, and I'm more of a relationship kind of a person. I really do value staff in any department, if it's in the school, if it's out of the school, transportation, doesn't matter where it is. And I'm just very appreciative of not only just being, presenting this information, but then, Heather and Matt being able to have conversations with your staff that are respectful, and then for them to understand that, we're going to increase your responsibility, and it's just, that's what we have to do, and then them being able to take it on. I think it's a really scary thing, probably in both buildings. I can't really speak really well for the high school, but for the elementary, to go from 3 sections to 2 sections. And it really doesn't matter if you have 70 kids or 30 kids. It's when you go down to those 2 sections, it binds your hands a little bit in how you're going to group, right? It's really challenging. If we have 30 kids, you don't want to have those same kids put together, the same class year after year after year after year, because it creates tension, there's dynamics, it's really hard, and it makes instruction a little bit more challenging. So I really appreciate how that was managed, because there's messaging behind it, and it's not easy to say, well, we're going to 2 sections, and that's just how it's going to be. You did it in a way that was smooth, I think, and it was well received, and I just really appreciate it. That was my biggest fear, and I think from the from our presentation, people are like, well, that's false. They're not going to sections because who's leaving? Well, people don't understand. We have people in long-term subbing positions there. Mrs. Naughton tonight, we accepted her resignation. She's not going to be there. And those are things that, like, it doesn't look like we're being transparent, but there's certain truths that we can't make evident until we can make them evident. And so, like, all the legwork that you guys do behind the scenes and making this transition a possibility is huge. I myself am going to 2 sections next year, and I haven't done that in 16 years. And it's like, holy smokes, there is no more wiggle room, right? Like, this is it. This here it is. This is where we're at right now, and it's just a really strange feeling because it's not going to go back. We're not going to get it. And like I think about like history, right? So many years ago, there was a lot of one-room schoolhouses, right? And then they had to localize, right? Fast forward to now, think about us. We're like a one-room schoolhouse. Right, like we really, that's the size that we're getting to right now. Is we're having to do more and more as that one teacher for the number of students that are in front of us. So, thank you for how you guys have managed this from the business end to the administrative end and the communication. I can't begin to say how grateful I am. I'm also extremely grateful for how we represented ourselves with our superintendent's committees. I love the information I'm getting back from Mr. McDonald, how he's saying that we're representing ourselves to these candidates. I'm grateful for it. I know we have good people here, but to hear it from somebody else outside that has no stake in the game makes me feel even better. I think we're down to 2 really good choices. That I think are going to have a massive impact here. And I just wanted to, I say thank you to Rob. The things that he's been doing for us behind is exactly what I was hoping. And I never thought in a million years would happen. And there's so much I've learned from you in just this short amount of time that I will always take with me. And still to this day, I can't find a single person that can say a bad thing about you. And I'm searching. I'm searching. Phone calls, I'm being diligent about it, and I get nothing. Like
Justin,
nothing.
did you ever tell him that he was our 3rd pick?
No, I did. I forgot to mention that. No. You're right. Yeah, you are. No, but I seriously appreciate it. And I think you're laying down stuff right now that you made an analogy about that carpenter in their house, and then the carpenter ultimately gets a house. I think that represents what you're doing here just perfectly. And I hope you keep looking back here and saying, hey, you know what? I was part of that. I was part of that transition, and we're better off for knowing you. So I appreciate that. I appreciate what we've done, and thank you for all the nice things you said about me. I wouldn't do this if I didn't believe in it. And I do believe in this. I do believe in everyone here, and I'm just very grateful that my kids, they want to go to school every day, and it's because of you guys. So thank you with that. It's 7:20. I'd like to make a motion to end the meeting.
So,
Second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, guys. Good luck with state assessments, by the way. I know it's...
Thank you.
You're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it.